2. All right, I think we're recording now officially. As of now, yeah. I really hate, when I do this on Skype. We're on the air now, especially. Doing this podcast on Skype, you have this countdown. It's not really a countdown. You can only see what's going on, and all of a sudden it goes like, "Oh, you're passing into the recorded chat." It's crazy, man. Anyway, we got a first timer on the podcast, Earnestly podcast. Danny G with us on loan from the Duke Loves Wrestling podcast. Actually, he's actually regular on the Duke Loves Wrestling podcast. Who I just had on this show about a month ago for the first time ever. And now I'm starting to get a lot of his inner circle into the show now. Danny G, what's up? We just became friends actually recently, last couple months on Twitter.
Yeah, that's right. How you doing, EJ? No, I'm good. Thanks for having me on. Great to be here, man.
It's kind of funny. We became friends on Twitter recently, and we're ready into like a knockout, drag out Eastern Conference Finals between our two favorite teams, the Heat and Celtics.
Well, it's been up and down. I mean, it's been a blowout one way or the other if you think about it. Game one, my Celtics were on top, and then that third quarter was probably the worst third quarter of professional basketball I think I've ever seen in my life. And, they came back, big win game 2, and then game 3 was just a disaster from the get-go. I know they made it interesting towards the end, but realistically, I don't think there was any chance they were going to keep it in that game. And then I don't know what happened. It didn't look like your Heat wanted to be there too much last night. Maybe a little bit too much partying down in South Boston around the North End. I mean, they looked lost last night.
Well, I'm not surprised at the result last night. I told everybody, before the game that take Boston -7. Like, I'm a Heat fan. I'm a diehard. No doubt about that. But I'm also a realist. And I knew that Boston, even with Marcus Smart, being at the time was questionable.
Yeah.
I still said, still take the Celtics. This is a 7-game series, honestly. Although I will say, and I said this when the series started, that the winner of Game 5 is winning the series, in my opinion.
Oh, I have to say that. I 100% agree with you. Believe it or not, the key for the Celtics is Robert Williams. He's got to play. He's got to play. I got a feeling he ain't going to play tomorrow night, though, because they're going to want him for Game 6 and 7. But we'll see what happens.
Did he get hurt again?
But he had a surgery on that knee to kind of fix it quick. I don't think it was the right surgery to have. I think it was more of a temporary fix. And I think going into the offseason, he'll probably have to have something done again. But they're maintenance him. I mean, he hasn't played really more than, I think, 22 minutes in any of the games. He only played 18 minutes last night, which was enough. But the only way they can really contain Bam is they need him in there.
Someone was saying the other day, like I think it was 2 days ago, I heard on the radio that he had a similar injury that Dwyane Wade had in college.
Yep.
That Dwyane Wade now admits it was a wrong idea. He should have rehabbed it, had the surgery.
Yep.
It would have added another couple of years to his career. And I think the injury is similar to what Robert Williams has. Williams may have actually cost himself some money, possibly, maybe a couple of years of his career, depending on how things play out.
I may not be a Heat fan, but Dwyane Wade was always one of my favorites.
Nice.
I thought the best season ever was his rookie year. Was it the rookie year or second year him and Shaq won?
It was his third year.
Third year. He was phenomenal. He was phenomenal. That's it. I mean, you think about that draft class with him, LeBron, Carmelo, Chris Paul.
Bosh.
What a draft, Chris Bosh. What a draft class.
Yeah. Darko.
Yeah, the number 2 pick. Yeah. Boy, the Pistons blow that one.
Yeah. So you're all Boston, like sports.
Yeah. But I mean, a big Red Sox guy, big Celtics guy, big Patriots guy. I do follow the Bruins. I don't watch it religiously as I do the other guys. But I definitely enjoy my Boston sports. But I mean, I like all sports in general. I'll watch the NFL, the NBA. I'll watch whatever's on pretty much. Baseball, maybe with some of the changes they're going to make coming up next year, might bring me a little bit more diehard. But I mean, I watch the Red Sox pretty religiously. I had them on early today. They're up 6-0 right now, so they're finally starting to hit.
Yeah, that is slow start to the year, but I think it's starting to get a little bit now. I mean, the Yankees is running away the division right now.
Well, the Yankees are running away. The Yankees got a good team. The Red Sox relief pitching is just killing them. Absolutely been killing them. I think I had 12 blown saves, I think it is. So
some of that, yeah. Now, I know my co-host on my wrestling podcast is a diehard Red Sox fan too, and he's going for a little bit too as well. Where do you feel? Where do you stand the Patriots now? Are you liking the post Brady era?
Well, yeah, it's funny because if you listen to Boston sports radio around here, you think they would be talking about the NBA semifinals. You know what I mean, with the
Yeah.
Celtics Heat more. No, but they seem to be more concerned about the Patriots coaching staff, and
Really?
or lack thereof in the coaching staff and what's going on. And that's honestly, like, if you turn on, the midday show, which in Boston, which is one of the most popular shows in the country,
Mm-hmm.
on 98.5, they realistically will talk Patriots and coaching staff at least every day for half the show for the past couple of weeks that I've been on, that I've been listening. And it's, I mean, look, this is just the way I look at it. Whether I agree or disagree or what going on and what everything, I think Bill Belichick's reserved the right to just be able to do his own thing. I mean, yeah, he had, for the narrative is, oh, he never's done it without Brady. He didn't do it without Brady. Well, I know Brady did it with without Belichick. He did it in Tampa, but Brady also did it very smart and very calculated, and he went to a stacked team that was ready to roll. So
As he should with his age.
course.
I mean, I'm sorry, you're not going to Miami. You're going to some place that's rebuilding. I'm at 44 years old.
Yep, and he did it, and he pulled it out of his ass like he always does, and he's the best professional athlete in this area's history, and he's probably the best football player to ever live. It's just, it is what it is.
Is it hard to watch though? Him doing what he's doing in Tampa?
It sucks. It sucks in every way to see him. It sucks in every way to see him succeed the way he is. But realistically, the Patriots needed to reset. They needed to rebuild, and they weren't going to be able to do that with him. And he would have just gotten more and more frustrated here. So I feel like it was the right thing for them to move on from him. I just wish they might have maybe gotten something for him, or, it just could have ended with like an amicable way, just like we both have decided it's best to part ways. I want to play somewhere else, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But it has to become drama filled and everything, and just make it all difficult. But yes, as a Boston fan, it sucks seeing Tom Brady still play so well.
But the thing is, though, I don't think people appreciate this enough, though, that this was something that, we really, there was no precedent for this, honestly. There was no precedent for this. And the fact that, you have a guy, Tom Brady, playing, not just playing, good football. He's still playing elite football. He's still arguably a top 3 to 5 quarterback in the league still, Oh, yeah. But at the same time, most teams, don't, you got to, Bill Belichick's responsibility is to build for the future too at the same time. And he tried that with BG, but then Brady continued winning. Yep. And at the time I defended Belichick's decision here. You have to go Brady. He's a hot hand still. You go Brady. Yeah. I mean, I get it. It was a hard decision. I don't think Belichick gets enough credit for, having the guts, because that's gutsy to move on from Brady. Yeah. No, it was. I mean, the problem is, it's like they didn't just. If Jimmy G was still here, nobody would have no one would question a thing. But the problem is they moved on from Brady, and it's almost like they figured he was going to stay again. They had no real backup plan or succession plan from him. And Cam came here for a year, and some of it was definitely ugly, but Cam got a bad rap. Cam did a good job here in Boston. So I agree with that. I agree with that. Real good job. They were 3 plays away from going 10-6, as opposed to 7-9. Right. No. I agree with you. Plays away. 2 of which were him not being able to punch it in the end zone at the end of the game. But that's just what happens. But I mean, he did a good job here, and they're rebuilding, and we'll just see what the season brings. We'll see what the season brings. I love Mac Jones. I think that they got a good thing going. I think they're going to have a solid offense. I don't expect them to win the Super Bowl, but I also don't think that the Dolphins and the Bills and definitely not the Jets are going to be as good as everyone thinks they are. Yeah, I do think of all the teams, because the AFC this year, you look at, on paper anyway, look at the AFC. Like, I look up and down the conference, and you can argue that 13 you can see as up as 13 to 14 teams in that conference, vying for a playoff spot, actually making the playoffs this year, and wouldn't sound foolish. The Patriots are one of those teams also too. The problem is that with the Patriots, I just don't know how to figure them out right now, because
they had a solid year last year, went 10-7, made the playoffs, all that. But it doesn't feel like on paper they got better. But then again, you don't know that because with Bill Belichick, the moves he makes are always very quiet and very, very subtle and, and whatnot. And maybe what the core he has just gets better and we just don't know it. We're so, as sports fans used to the flash and whatnot and getting this big name. But Bill Belichick has always been a guy that's built from the ground up.
Yeah.
And maybe the past can surprise folks now this year.
Well, I agree with you. I don't think they got worse, but I definitely don't think that they got better. I don't think they added anyone of any, major significance that could put them over the top.
Right.
Maybe on offense a little bit. I mean, they with Jacoby Myers, Devontae Parker, Patrick Bourne and Aguilar, I think you got a solid group of 4 wide receivers. They got very good running backs. Their offensive line, we'll see. They always tend to have a decent offensive line. Defense is going to be suspect, but who knows? It's an offensive league now.
and I am a fan of Mac Jones for the record. I think Mac Jones, I know he tailed off a little bit late in the year, but of course he's a rookie. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I thought the best of Mac Jones was obviously in the middle of the year. You can see something there. It reminded me a lot of early Brady, like early 2001, 2002 Brady. And you can work with
that. A lot. He actually had a better year statistically than Brady did that year. The
Mm-hmm.
difference being Brady won the Super Bowl, so of course you can't argue.
Of course.
But realistically, Brady, if you go back to that 2001 season, Tom Brady had some bad games. He had some really bad games during that stretch.
Yeah.
And he got hurt in the playoff game, and Bledsoe got him there, and stuff. But so overall, I mean, Mac had a good year.
He had one touchdown the entire playoff run? If I'm not mistaken.
Brady.
The entire playoff run? Yeah, one touchdown.
David Patton in the Super Bowl.
Right, that was it.
Yep. He didn't have one in the Raiders game.
If you had that stat today, that'd be insane.
Insane, I know. Yeah, and then in the AFC Championship game, he didn't play. Bledsoe played. Well, he got hurt, and then Bledsoe played. And then he threw the touchdown to David Patton in the corner. The other touchdown was Ty Law, interception, and then it was two field goals by Adam Vinatieri.
Yeah. Which Patriots Super Bowl team means the most to you of the 6?
2000. All right. Obviously 2001. I mean, because that was the first real championship, I had seen around here in years, if ever, actually in my lifetime. And it actually is. I mean, I was too young for the Celtics back in '86, but obviously 2001 because that got it kicked off before that between the Red Sox and then everybody went on a streak after that.
Right.
I'll say my favorite Patriots team was probably the 2004 team. That team was just unstoppable with Corey.
That was the one that went 15-1, right? 14-2.
Corey Dillon as a running back.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other team I really, really, really enjoyed was 2014. With Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that
was a great. I mean, they had a good, solid receiving core that year. They had a good, solid team that year. I mean, obviously, 2016, which the 28-3, that'll live forever in infamy. And I mean, 2018 was a good one too, but that was kind of a boring run. It really was. I mean, and
that's how you know you got spoiled. That's how you know you're spoiled now.
It's true. It's true. And but what people don't realize is all you hear on the radio right here is Sony Michel suck. But Sony Michel ran you to a Super Bowl. He was phenomenal. I was at the San Diego game where he had 4 touchdowns. He had another 2 touchdowns in Kansas City, and he scored one in the Super Bowl. Kid was a good running back for that year.
Yeah.
I don't care if his career's panned out. He ran us to a Super Bowl.
No, I agree. He was a monster that year, and especially in that playoff run. I agree with you. Real quick, back to the Celtics. Real quick. One of the themes on this podcast last couple of weeks, as we get to the playoffs, is Jason Tatum and about where he stands, in terms of the echelon of players and stars. In your opinion, is he a top 10 guy now? Is he a top 10 guy in your opinion? Or still?
He's in the top 10. I don't think I would say right now. Probably the 8 or 9 area.
Okay.
He's still got some growing up to do. He definitely does. The constant bickering at the referees needs to stop. I think if he wasn't as good as he was, he'd probably be benched already.
Yeah.
By Udoka. But yeah, he's getting up there. I mean, obviously you got Curry, you got Luka, you got LeBron, Kevin Durant. There's obviously some guys I missed. Giannis, obviously, who's probably the best player in the game overall.
Agreed.
Gets plenty of help from the referees, even though he doesn't need it. But yeah, but
there's some truth there.
He's there. He's in the top. He's in the top 10. In the top 10. He may be, like I said, 8, 9, or 10, but he's there.
I do think that one good thing about Tatum, though, especially too, is that when he has bad games, and you've seen in the playoffs too, he definitely knows how to bounce back.
He does. He does, but he's gotta take that next step. But the thing is I don't think he's that vocal leader that like a LeBron is. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think he's the quiet leader, like lead by example. And so that's where I think Marcus Smart kind of comes in with this team, because I think he's the guy that will speak to the media, that will, take the rap and everything. But at the same time, Marcus Smart, half the reason they're as good as they are this year is because Marcus Smart finally realized that this is the player that he is. He's not the 15 shots a game guy. And he's been great this year. He deserved Defensive Player of the Year. He's being the point guard that the team needs him to be, and if they end up going all the way, he'll be remembered for that.
It's funny because I tweeted yesterday that I've been a lifelong Celtic hater since birth, but this team is easily the most likable Celtic team I think I've ever come across. Like, I obviously respect the Celtics and the legacies, all that, Bird and Parrish, McHale, all that going back then. And I'll be honest with you, like, even with the heated rivalry with the Heat back in the early 2000s, in the aughts, with LeBron and the Big Three, I used to love watching the Big Three of Garnett, Pierce, and Allen. I wasn't a fan, obviously, but just the chemistry and how they played. Like, I would never miss. I mean, seriously, I was you look at league pass priority. They're like top 2 or 3 league pass priority for me every night.
Yeah, they it's funny because you talk about being spoiled in the town of Boston. That team actually gets criticism for only winning 1 championship and going to 4 Eastern Conference Finals and 2 NBA. It's insane how spoiled we are up here in Boston. It really is.
Hey, at least you're saying
it. It really is. It really is. Look, I was as critical of Brady and everything, towards, I was as critical at times of his game and stuff like that too, just because you always expected so much from the guy.
Right.
He was just that good.
Yeah. Let's talk some wrestling though, because that's one of the reasons we really became friends here. I don't know where to start here. First off, let's start here first. What got you into pro wrestling? When did you start? What was the inspiration? Because you're obviously watching it now, even today.
I want to say 1984, so I was probably 10. Probably 10. World Class Championship Wrestling on Channel 25. In Boston. Yep. It was syndicated in Rhode Island, where I'm from. The Von Erichs are what really got me into it. Kerry and Kevin Von Erich primarily. The Freebirds, Iceman King Parsons, Chris Adams. That was my that's how I really got started, and from there it kind of got into WWF because a friend of mine watched WWF.
Right.
So I started watching that, and then WWF used to do a lot of touring in the Northeast, so I used to get to live events at the old Providence Civic Center, and so that's how it all got started for me. Some of my I hate it because I don't like to always talk about the old days and stuff, but like I still remember in 1985 when Kerry Von Erich pinned Ric Flair at Texas Stadium in front of like 41,000 people at the time, and that was unheard of for a wrestling crowd that size. And that's kind of, I know WWE really kind of took off with Hulk Hogan, but that Texas wrestling is really what kind of started to get people really going mainstream, I think.
Okay.
It kind of, that's what really started to push people off the map, and then onto the map. And then, Hulk Hogan came in, and then that got started, and WrestleMania started in 1985, the same year. So it was all kind of unison. And then, but that's also at the same time when the I would say almost like the wars kind of started. You had WWF, you had NWA, but NWA back then, World Class Championship Wrestling was technically affiliated with them because Ric Flair would come and defend the championship in World Class and such. So, WWF was primarily a Northeast for a while, and then they expanded globally. But that's how I really got into it was the old World Class Championship Wrestling, which was Kevin Von Erich and Kerry Von Erich, like I said, and their brothers, David and Michael, and it's unfortunately there's a lot of tragedy that has come along with that.
Yeah,
but
I was a great cursed family.
Their father was a full blown a-hole.
Yeah.
I think he did a lot of terrible things to them and to their mother and everything. So, it's too bad. It's too bad. But that was that's what got me started.
Did you get into WWE pretty right with Hogan, or did it took a little while for you to get into
Hogan? I was right there. I still remember the first time I saw him, September 9th, 1985. It was at the Dunkin'. It's the Providence Civic Center, but Dunkin' Donuts Center. He fought Paul Orndorff. It was great. It was. I get to see him live. There was back in the day before they would even have their musical entrances at the house shows.
Right.
He came down to no music and everything, so it was very strange. But yeah. So
it's kind of weird that there's an era of that.
I've been to so many WWE events over the years that it's.
Do you still go now?
My daughter was into it for a while, so I was taking her to all the SmackDowns and the Raws.
Nice.
That would come around. We were gonna go to the most recent. Oh my God, what was it? The last one, Backlash, over at the Dunkin' Donuts Center. I wanted to see Cody, but I ended up having COVID, so I was fine by that point. But I just figured it wasn't a good idea at that time to go out, into public again. Just not to go out into public, but just to kind of take it easy. I was leaving for Aruba in a couple of days. I didn't want to risk anything, so I took it and do that. But no, I think I might hit up the SmackDown's coming to Boston in July, so I might go to that. I'd like to see Roman on this run right now.
That's a great run. It's a fantastic run.
I really would like to see him. I want to see Cody live. Cody's been one of my favorites for a long time. Even before he left, he was always one of my guys, and I followed him all during the independence, and I was like, this guy really, really, he really took charge of himself, and he really figured out, what he could be, and I think he's done a good job with it.
What's your favorite era?
Oh,
it's a bunch, huh?
Everybody loves the Attitude Era. The old Stone Cold. I've never heard a crowd as loud as when that glass breaks and Stone Cold comes out. I was in the Dunkin' Donuts Center when they were doing the whole WCW, ECW, WWE rivalry.
Yeah.
And they had done a SmackDown in Providence a couple of months before, and they had a whole bunch of technical issues and a whole bunch of problems that to the point where Vince McMahon, I'm pretty sure he came on a local radio station the next morning and he apologized to everybody. And he said, we're coming back in August and we are going to give you guys a great show that you'll never forget. And then that was the night that Stone Cold came back, and he came through the crowd, and he fought through all the dressing room, and he came out. And then when that glass broke, the pop was unbelievable. I've been to baseball games, basketball games, football games. I've never heard anything that loud in my entire life.
I remember I went to a Raw back in 1999. I was 19 at the time. And I remember hearing Austin come out. I was like, wow, this is amazing. It's like going to it's like going to a Metallica concert almost.
Listen, Hogan was never close. The Rock was the only other one that was somewhat close.
It was a pop?
The pop, yep. The Rock,
yeah, of course.
The Rock got a couple of good ones, but I've never heard anything like Austin. Never. Yeah. That was unbelievable.
And it's amazing too because to this day, 2022, Austin is still arguably, I was unarguably really, and I think we saw WrestleMania this year. He's still to this day gets the biggest pop in the company.
He is. There's Hogan, there's Flair, there's The Rock, then there's Austin. Nobody. I think as far as overall staying power, especially in the business, there's nobody as high as Austin. Nobody. He can do whatever he wants and get away with it.
And it's funny because like he's had a longer career, but his actual peak, like his actual
5 years.
popularity, not even 5 years, honestly. Think about it. He got to 96, well, late 95, but 96, 97, 97, 98, 99, he's gone after end of 99 for a year, comes back, he's here for another year, and then he's gone again, and he comes back, he retires.
Yep.
And yet,
hell, he put on a hell of a show at WrestleMania.
This year, yeah.
Yeah, I do think night 2 was a bit too much, and I honestly don't know if that was even planned originally.
You mean the Vince stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if that was planned, but I think that he got such a good response the first night that I think Vince was like, let's ride this for as long as we can.
It's like his milk is motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that was I think, I mean, Hulk Hogan put professional wrestling on the map and gave it the mainstream appeal. Yeah. But Stone Cold Steve Austin took it to the next level. I mean, my son and I went to a Red Sox game. It was last summer, and I wore my Austin 316 shirt. Yeah. I think I got 15 high fives from people just for my wearing Austin 316. So, people Austin 316 means I just whipped your ass is that's not just a meme. That's like a statement that people know.
Those 4 names you just mentioned, Hogan, Austin, The Rock, Ric Flair. Is that your Mount Rushmore?
Yeah. Can I be honest with you?
Go ahead.
I'd probably. This is going to sound crazy, but I'm not a Ric Flair guy. I would probably put Undertaker there before Flair.
So I can see why.
I know that's not popular, but Ric Flair's past 10 years have really soured me on him. I think he's hung on a little bit too long, and I think it's making me dislike him. But then again, I mean, Cena, you can't argue Cena. Cena could possibly be there, but I would probably go Hogan, Undertaker, Austin, The Rock.
If you're doing a WWE Mount Rushmore, it's easily Cena, it's easily Hogan, it's easily Austin. And what was the 4th guy I had in there as well too? I forgot. I thought it was The Rock. Was the 4th guy?
Yeah, The Rock. Yeah.
Taker is interesting too because Taker is he's the foundational guy, but he's not the tippy top guy. He's you don't put the he's not. I mean, he's moving merchandise obviously too, but he's not the put it on my back kind of thing. It was Austin who did that. It was Hogan did that. It was those guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it is fascinating though. Flair too. I appreciate Flair too as I gotten older. But I didn't watch a lot of NWA and early WCW. You know what I'm saying?
There was some good stuff. I mean, honest to God, if you ever want to go back and find it, watch Starrcade '86. Yeah. Oh, phenomenal. I mean, there was some good years, but the problem is then they turned into WCW. And it just wasn't good. It wasn't good for a long time. It didn't get good it didn't get good until by accident with the Outsiders when they came in. Then it started to get good again, and then that only lasted so long, and then that fizzled too. So,
I was listening to one of your appearances on a couple. I think all the appearances on Douglas Wrestling. You were pretty critical of AEW.
Oh yeah, I can't stand it.
So you're still on the same plane.
It gets worse by the week, to be honest with you. And part of that is I was super excited for it when it came out. I was so happy that there was going to be something else to watch. I thought it was a good thing. I have given it multiple opportunities. I still do tune in. I won't lie. Just not like I was at first.
You're still trying.
I'm still trying, but I can't. I just can't. For one. How can I put this? Vince runs WWE, but you know what? For the most part, he's behind the scenes. He's behind the scenes. Tony Khan can't keep his mouth shut. He can't keep his mouth shut. He has no business booking a wrestling show. He has no business writing a wrestling show. He's basically rich kid with hobby is what I like to call him. He's basically doing this because he had the money to do it. And I mean, he's done I'll say he's done some good things. I think that having a little bit of competition has been good for the wrestlers because they've been able to obviously make more money. That's a good thing. But I mean, the shows are just that every week Dynamite's terrible. It's and the storylines go nowhere, and he doesn't know how to use guys. And every other week it's a big surprise, and somebody new is coming in, and he keeps adding, and you got guys like Keith Lee, who honestly probably shouldn't even be in a wrestling ring right now. I don't think he's healthy enough.
Right.
And then you got you bring back CM Punk, and you know what? He was another guy who was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I loved CM Punk. He was great, but and when he came back that night again, the pop was phenomenal in Chicago, great. And then he opened his mouth, and then it went all downhill from there. He particularly what bothers me is there's too many WWE references on a weekly basis, and they're in there every week. So I wish they would focus on their own product and try to get better, but they just don't. They don't. Do you follow AEW botches?
Yeah, I do.
I do. My God. That stuff is just gold. That stuff is gold. I know there's botches in WWE too, but it's just what you see there, and I can't stand the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and Don Callis. They're like awful. I cannot stand the Young Bucks. Adam Cole though, I've always been a big fan.
Oh, he's amazing. I love him.
I realized I was a fan of NXT Adam Cole. I'm not a fan of the cosplay Adam Cole who wants to dress up with his buddies in Ghostbuster costumes and have fun. I liked the badass Undisputed Era Adam Cole. I thought he was good. I really was disappointed when he went to AEW, but he did what was best for himself. I can't blame him. I mean, really, Tony Khan's throwing money at these guys like it's going out of style. I just read that he gave Kyle O'Reilly a 5-year contract.
Really?
A 5-year contract. Yeah, Kyle O'Reilly said it. It was on one of the wrestling websites.
Wow, I missed that.
5 years. I mean, it's like I don't see how they're doing. I don't see how they're keeping this going financially.
I'm really curious.
If you talk to Duke, he'll tell you they're losing money. Like I actually did read an article that they're on pace. They actually budgeted to lose $20 million for the year.
Yeah,
they're on pace to lose over $100. Because part of it's the video game. But
it's flopped.
Yeah, well, it's flopped, and plus the salaries are sky high. Ticket sales are not great. They don't have a big TV contract.
No.
So it's I've tried EJ so many times, and there've been some matches. I mean, like when they had Daniel Bryan against Kenny Omega, but think about that story, okay? 2 matches, right? Was there ever a payoff? No, there was no payoff.
Almost never is.
There was no payoff.
They can benefit from cutting their roster like tremendously. I'm not sitting there advocating for losing jobs, of course, but
no,
blow the roster.
Well, all right. When was that Ring of Honor show? For the weekend, WrestleMania weekend, right?
So about a month and a half ago.
What are we now? May 24th? What has there been from Ring of Honor since then? Nothing. It's horrible. Like the storytelling is just terrible. And I mean, he puts people on TV that aren't ready. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like to come out and say we don't need a performance center. All right, maybe you don't, but you need to have your people practice.
No, I agree.
They've got to do something because there's just so much. I mean, every week someone's going to seriously get hurt. And that's the worst part about it. I mean, the craziest thing about it is Jeff Hardy has been on AEW botches at least half a dozen times since he's gotten there. Mm-hmm. How many times has he done these moves? He's never did that in WWE. It's because it's a big. I feel like it's a big party every week that they show up. They just have fun. They get to hang out with their friends. We're gonna go do a show for fun, and then that's it. It's too. I feel like it's very disrespectful to these people who put their life and effort into the craft. And that's what that is. It's a craft. I mean, it's a dream job. It's a dream job. It's a craft. And in my opinion, it's a team sport. It's a team sport because how the match goes depends as much on your opponent as it does on yourself. And you two have to work together to make the match go successfully. These guys are. It's not like the years growing up when it was King Kong Bundy and all the big heavy set one man gang and all that. You don't see many of that anymore. These guys are world class athletes now. They're world class athletes and they work hard at their craft. And when you go out there every week and there are Twitter handles specifically to set up botches for you on a weekly basis, there's something wrong. There's something.
And what sucks too is that and see what WWE, of course, they have their issues though, but the model's there. Like the model still works. Like I would argue that having a PC is a fantastic idea because it keeps your guys, if you have a core group of guys that you're going to be committing to for the next 3 to 5 years, Kyle O'Reilly is going to be here for the next 5 years. They would benefit from having a PC to practice with to keep them in line. I've AEW. I you probably don't know my story, but I took a 17-year hiatus from wrestling, after 2002, and I came back in 19 because I heard about AEW. It was coming and this and that. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. So I started watching WWE again, and eventually AEW went to TV in late October or whatever. I became an AEW mark for a little while. But the things you're saying now about the negatives of why they are the problems you have with them, it's starting to wear on me now. Like I'm starting to see that stuff now too, like little by little. I haven't watched this year alone. And now this also includes WWE as well too. I don't think I've watched more than 2 episodes of Dynamite this year in 2022. Whereas before 2022, I watched every single one. A lot of it is also, it's kind of hard to keep up, with the amount of wrestling on TV and the amount of things I want to watch, sports, basketball, NBA, NFL, you name it, and stuff I want to watch with my wife and all that.
I mean, as much as I do love wrestling, don't get me wrong, it doesn't trump my Celtics, and it doesn't trump the Red Sox, and it doesn't trump the Patriots if they're on. So, I'll flip onto it during commercials. Don't get me wrong.
Let me give an example. So my co-host on my wrestling podcast, Mikey, what they're doing now, like they have like the Double Nothing pay-per-view. It's like theaters. So we want to go to the theater to watch the event. So he asked me if I wanted to go, and I go, yeah. But if there's Game 7 on Sunday, I'm not going anywhere. Sorry. He comes first. He comes first always. Yep. And another thing too, also, if the Heat make the finals, for example, I know the NBA finals starts on a Thursday. There's no podcast tonight. Sorry. He come first. He come first always. So.
Oh yeah. No, it's true. I will say this. I look forward to the new WWE PLEs, premium live events. I still call them pay-per-views, but they've delivered. They've delivered on all of them. They have. Yeah, they really have.
Speaking of WWE, what do you think about the whole Naomi Sasha thing? Do you think it's a work or a shoot?
I can't figure it out. I love Sasha Banks. She's one of my favorites. I've liked, she's fantastic, and she's I hope it's a work. I want to say because there seems to be a trend with her with this. Walking out, taking her ball when she's not getting her way and stuff like that. But at the same time, I don't know. We talked about AEW and
right.
I talked about Duke with this, and he actually agreed with me. I don't think Tony Storm and Jeff Hardy do what they do if there's no AEW. Okay? Because these guys are all friendly with each other. They are all friends. They're all friendly. You don't think somebody put a feeler in Tony Storm's ear? You got a job if you want. Even more obvious with Jeff Hardy. You know what I mean? So my opinion is, and one of the things that I talked to Duke about this as well, is Tony Khan gets hammered for not having enough women and not having enough minorities in prevalent spots on the shows, and it's all justified. It's all justified.
Absolutely.
The portrayal is terrible. It's criminal.
Right.
You don't think he is chomping at the bit to have those two higher profile African American women come over to his women's division and take it over?
And not just colored, not just the fact that they're black, but also they're actually really great what they do.
Exactly. And I mean, Sasha has cachet. I don't know. Naomi doesn't really have much cachet, but she's a good performer. She's good. Yeah. I think she's excellent. But I would not be shocked that that there's been something put in their ear by somebody that just ride your time out and come on over here.
So you think this is a shoot? You think this actually is real?
Yeah, I think I do. And I think that because I mean honestly, like you think about look at Ali, okay?
Yeah.
A year ago, he doesn't want to do it. WWE says you go ahead, go. We don't need you. We'll cut you. Fine, go ahead. Your 90-day non-compete clause, you go. But after what happened with Tony Storm,
mm-hmm.
and then what happened with Jeff Hardy, WWE saw a trend, and they said, you know what? No, we're not going to allow you to walk out on your contract. If you don't want to work here, that's fine, but you're not going to work anywhere else because we'll hold you to the contract. And I know there's been rumors that Sasha and Naomi's contracts are up. I actually talked to somebody. I'm pretty sure Sasha signed through 2024.
Yeah, I know Naomi's contract's up very soon. I know.
I remember in 2019, Sasha signed a 5-year extension. When she came back. I'm pretty sure, so I don't think she's going anywhere. And truthfully, she'd be crazy to go anywhere.
Yeah.
With the way WWE is trending WWE is trying to turn their performers into mainstream stars. They're trying to get more and more people to go the Rock and Cena route.
Mm-hmm.
Roman's going to be there. Whether we like it or not, Roman will be there. Sasha is going to be there. But if she goes over to AEW, she's not going to be there. She's not going to do it because she will not have the exposure that she has now. I mean, you think about it. She was in The Mandalorian. She did the hype video for the national championship game. She was just at Fenway Park 2 weekends ago throwing out the first pitch. I mean, she would be crazy to do that. Crazy to do that. But
no, and I think she'll. I do think, honestly, Cool Heads will prevail because if they wanted to fire her, they would fire her already.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said earlier, they're world-class athletes now. They're athletes, and they have egos. And yes, it's a show, and it's performed, and it's scripted, but they have egos. They all want to be at the top of the card. They do, but not everybody is meant to be at the top of the card.
Right.
One
last thing before you go. One last thing. We saw a report over the weekend. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, does not have any commitments for the beginning of 2023. First quarter 2023.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's WrestleMania season.
Of course.
Well, I ask you this, Danny G. Do you see finally the rumor for the last 2-3 years about The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania headlining? Do you see happening next year?
Yep. 100%.
You do?
100%. Yep. It's going to be the end of the Roman story. He's going to win the match. He's going to be the head of the table. And he is going to ride off into the sunset after that. That'll be it.
He retires?
I don't know if he retires, but he's going to go the John Cena route.
The part-time route.
He'll become more and more part-time and start making movies and stuff. I mean, you got to look at it this way. This is a guy who's had cancer a couple times now, and he's got a couple of young kids. He's probably maximizing his money right now, making as much money as he can, because in the back of his mind, he might think, I never know. I don't know. I don't know when that's going to come back, if it's ever going to come back. So while he's relatively young, I can see him wanting to still spend some time with his family and, live the good life. And he deserves it. I mean, he's killing it right now. He is.
Oh, this run's amazing.
He's unbelievable. I mean, you're over when you are trying your best to be a heel and the crowd is cheering you.
But it's finally worked, though, because for years, now I didn't watch at the time, but obviously learning and seeing, in hindsight, the company forcing Roman down our throats and people just booing. And then they finally pull the trigger. It took COVID, obviously, whatnot, but they pulled the trigger, and now it's actually working. Now you get a point now where now you can consider him a tweener now.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, what's funny is we talk about Pops. I was at a house show. I was right after the year the Hardys came back. I want to say 2016, 2017,
Okay.
maybe. And it was Roman against Braun and Strowman. And
Right.
Roman came out. And if you want to call it a pop, he got the overall loudest pop. Now, it wasn't all cheers. It was a mix of cheers and boos.
Right.
It was loud. So even though he didn't get the fan favorite or the face reaction that they always wanted him to get, he definitely got crowd reactions, which is always what kept him at the top of the card.
But the thing was, though, the difference back then then between now is that back then they were trying to push us to a babyface, white meat babyface. Yeah, now it's like I'm a jerk, I'm an asshole. But you know, if you love Roman, you'll love Roman. If you hate Roman, you hate. But no matter what, you're invested and you like it and you're into it and you're invested in the storyline. And I think that's what has now saved his. Well, I don't say save his career, but it's definitely made him now what I call now about to be a legacy guy now.
Yeah,
We're about to approach Roman Reigns being a top 10 guy probably in the next year or two.
Yeah. I mean, because he's not losing until next year.
No, should he?
No. I mean, the only way he loses is if he gets hurt. If he ends up getting seriously hurt and he can't compete. But even in that case, they would probably just say, he's vacated the titles. So, and
to be honest, he doesn't need to wrestle on SmackDown anymore. He could wrestle on major pay-per-views, and I think just him being in the building now and him talking and doing promos is enough for me.
I actually think he's going to be doing. I think his schedule is going to be Mondays and Fridays, and then the pay-per-views. I think they're gonna start putting him on both shows.
As they should.
Yeah, I think they should on both shows.
Now, you said that real quick before we go. That Roman, you think that after WrestleMania next year he'll go part-time. You got to build a star. You got to build somebody to be the next guy. Who is the next guy in your opinion?
It's Cody.
It is Cody.
It's Cody. It's Cody right now. I don't know if he'll ever go as high as some of these other guys that like your Cena's and Rock and stuff like that. But I think Cody's the next guy for now.
Okay.
For now. Seth could be. I think Seth's villain character right now is fantastic.
I love it.
I just think he loses too much. So at Royal Rumble when he came down in the Shield gear,
that was amazing.
Was unbelievable. That was probably my favorite moment so far this year in all of wrestling.
Really?
That and Cody coming out at WrestleMania. That was great.
Yeah.
Because you really didn't know. You knew,
but you knew, but you didn't know.
But you didn't know. Because, and then they threw Shane McMahon is in Dallas. It's like, oh, no. Here comes the money is what you're going to hear.
Swerve. Nice little swerve there.
Exactly. But, yeah, I think they're trying to set up Cody to be that guy. And I don't think he'll ever be as popular as some of the other guys, but I actually think he's, talk about pops. He got a pretty damn good one at WrestleMania. So
yeah, he did.
I think he is. The thing I like about what he's doing now is I feel like he's really trying to be an ambassador for the sport. Because I really feel like he's trying to engage with the fans and trying to give back. And I think after the 6 years being gone from WWE, he seems like he developed an appreciation for his job. Yeah.
Well, and his stock is really high too. On top of that. Yeah,
and he kind of saw the other side of it, and they miss him over there. I don't care what they say. Maybe not. They don't necessarily miss him on TV, but I think they miss him behind the scenes because I think he was a sounding board for a lot of those people that are frustrated. There's a lot more frustration over there, I think, than people will let on.
Let me just say right now that I love AEW, but the honeymoon's over.
Yeah, they've got to really start to. I actually saw somebody post that they should try to do a stadium show. Are you nuts?
No, stick to what you know. Don't try to do something that you're not ready for. Just stick to your 5,000, 6,000 seat arenas. It's fine. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
They peaked when they Omega versus Bryan at Arthur Ashe Stadium.
Right.
I think that's when they were at their highest right there. Mm-hmm. But they have so poorly used Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson. It just makes me. Why is he in a tag team with Jon Moxley? Two of your top singles wrestlers who should be in the world title scene no matter what. You got them in a tag team? And they're not even challenging for the tag team titles.
Right.
I mean, that just goes to show. And you know why? Because all they're doing is laughing and cashing checks.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're doing.
Well, like I said, I think the honeymoon's over, and I think you're gonna start seeing more criticism towards the AW and Tony Khan and whatnot. I'm rooting for AW to do well. I mean, I love the fact that they're a nice alternative.
Yeah.
But they gotta clean the shit up, man. And not only that I don't like how they how Tony Khan is so very liberal with when it comes to like letting these wrestlers they do these crazy ass moves, and that's not necessary. Honestly,
Yeah.
It's wearing on me now, man. It really is.
Like well, see, here's the thing: if you want to let Jeff Hardy and Darby Allin do that crazy chair spot, don't line the chairs up before the match. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Figure out, have Jeff Hardy set up like 4 chairs or something like that.
Right.
I mean, don't. It's the stuff like that that just it's just laughable. It's just it's so. It's staged, but it's not supposed to look staged.
Right.
And when it's done right, it doesn't.
It's too carny, in my opinion. But anyway, plug your Twitter, plug it away. I mean, I'm glad having a podcast for the first time. Well, definitely won't be your last time.
Yep. Well, so you can find me on Twitter at @WickedSmart.
I love your Twitter handle, dude. That's the best.
Yeah.
Wicked Smart.
Yeah. I was gonna do the SMHAT, but I'm like, that's too. There's actually a T-shirt that says that, so I did it. I just did it the other way. I'm on Instagram as Daniel F. Garvin, which is my name. My wife. I'm gonna swear for a second. My wife always calls me Daniel fucking Garvin. That's how I got that in there. So I mean, I'm not like I say, I'm not that guy that blocks you if you disagree with something I say. I'm not that guy that's gonna jump down your throat. If you want to have a little Twitter banter back and forth, it's a little fun. It's all in good fun.
Of course.
I've been I get into a Matt Cardona one day. It was pretty fun. Doc Callis was pretty fun too. So
Anyway, that's Danny fucking Garvin. All right, buddy, that's going to podcast. Really appreciate it, brother.
No problem, EJ. Hey, thanks. You give me a call because it's past my bedtime, so I'm gonna retire for the night. But you know where to find me, and go Celtics. That's all I'm gonna say.
Good luck to your team, man. Take care, all right?
Take it easy, EJ. Thank you.
You got it, brother. Take care. Bye.